everybody, Pat Huntoon from Technique Junkies here. Today we're going to be making this cute little Mother's Day card that uses Nuvo Gilding Flakes as the grout between our designer paper pieces. We're making a little chevron pattern with some grout in it. It's shiny, it's pretty, and easy to make. I'm so glad you're here to join us. Why don't we get started? Okay, to start, we're starting with a plain A2 piece of paper. And I've cut several different slices of paper in here, 1 inch in size. And I think I have 4 different patterns here, plus a solid, or 3 patterns plus a solid. And before I start this, what I usually do is I lay it out in advance. So pretty much that's how it's going to look, but we're going to leave even spacing in between down. And I'm going to fill in that little spot right there with some others. So now I'm just going to remove this off of here because I know how it's going to look when it's finished. And I'm going to add some tape to this. Some carpet tapes have fibers in them. You do have to be a little bit careful. And you notice I'm putting that a little to the side because I have some hanging off the end there. And the stuff that's hanging off the end, I don't want to attach to my white piece of paper. So I'm going to have that. And I'm going to butt these really close together, these 2 pieces, so I have nothing really showing in between. Because I want to make sure I get tape on the whole piece. And not have any open areas. I'm going to cut off the excess so it doesn't get all over the place. If you have a Xyron, this is a perfect time to use your Xyron. My Xyron happens to be out of adhesive, which is not unusual. In fact, I just cleaned up my studio and I unburied my Xyron today, so I'm very happy that my little Xyron, I can do this in some classes I'm teaching later this year. My scissors, I'm going to take this backing off here. Again, this is very strong tape. So strong, evidently, that I can't even get the backing off. And you don't want to touch it too much. When you touch it a lot, you will lose some of the backing on it. And you can see my fingerprints already. Boy, my hands are dirty. You can see my fingerprints already all over it. And then I'm going to start just placing these down. And again, the midpoint should line up with this top point, not this bottom point. So I'm kind of eyeballing that midpoint and putting that on there. I'm going to go for piece number 2, which I'm leaving a, what would you call it, 1/16 inch piece there between them. And I'm going to go above that now, because you're always thinking, do one side, then the other side, then the other side, then the other, go back and forth with your colors so that you get the zigzag pattern and not 2 pieces right next to each other. Like, you don't want to layer them like this. You want to go back and forth, if that makes any sense. I didn't do that very neatly, but since we're doing this quickly, see how I'm leaving a little bit in between, and that little bit in between is where our real pizzazz is going to come out of this card. Put this one on, and I think I'm going to put this one back on again. And I'm going to go back to, oh, if I put this one, I think I need this piece here. And so now I pretty much have that corner done. I don't want to get in the way of the camera there. Pretty much have that end done. I'm going to just finish up down here with the last couple of pieces. And we'll just put this one here. So basically I used 4 inch by 1 inch pieces of paper to do that. I'm going to take that off, and I'm going to quickly cut this off the edges just to trim this up. Now I have this beautiful piece here that I've gone back and forth with, and I have this grouting in here. So we're going to be using the Nuvo Gilding Flakes. Now, Nuvo Gilding Flakes come in this jar, and there is tons in this jar. I mean, tons in this jar. And the way they make Nuvo Gilding Flakes, or all Gilding Flakes, is they make them in nice long flat sheets of flakes, and they pile them up on top of one another. And when they're piled like that, they're really condensed, so you have to take them out and let them breathe. And as you can see, I have a very high-tech Betty Crocker case here, and I've put them in here and I gently pull them apart just a little, just like this. You can see how they're they're together like that. And by pulling them apart, you're really expanding them. You want them to breathe. So these came out of this jar, and if you can see, this jar still has over half or more in there. In fact, I think I filled 2 of these already with what's in that gold. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place a bunch of leaves on here, a bunch of flakes on here, a whole bunch, more than I need. I could mix these colors up, but I've chosen by putting silver and copper on here too, but I think I'm just going to use gold because frankly that's what was on my desktop. And I'm going to cover that, and then I'm just going to press these flakes into my grout. Just going to use my fingers to start, and I'm going to press, press, press. I'm going to try to get a lot of flakes in that grout so that we have no white showing at all of the white cardstock back there. You can already see it's going into the grout, and I'm trying not to breathe so it doesn't get all over the place because it is fly away. I don't suggest that you do this under a ceiling fan. Trust me. Not that that's ever happened to me before, but trust me. Okay, so I'm just going to pull this off of here. I'm going to tap this off for the time being. Just going to tap this off. And then I'm going to take all these gilding flakes, and I'm going to put all these excess, the big excess pieces, back into my container here if I can. And that's why, one of the reasons I'm working on this white piece of paper, so that I can pick it up gently and drop them all back into my whole container. Now, just so you know, if I was working with more than one color, I have something called mixed grill. Mixed grill for me is where I have several colors in one container, and then I can just use, when that fills up a little bit, I use that as opposed to taking it out of 3 different containers. Now I'm going to get that nice seal on there and make sure that clicks there. You can't see it, but there are gilding flakes all over the place. I made a mess here. And then again, I'm just going to push this in with my finger. Press them down, press them down. I'm getting it into my cracks. And then I'm just going to go over it with a brush. And the reason I'm doing that is I want to make sure it's nice and you can really see the difference. It's very flat. It makes it very flat. So that is the gold grouting portion of this card. And if you can see how pretty that grout is, it's absolutely beautiful. You can see that. And now I'm going to use this as the base of my piece. I'm actually going to be putting a piece of matting under it, but I'm going to be putting something over the top of this. Okay, now it's time to put a little focal image on top of our piece. So what I'm going to do, what I did do, was I used the SS 071 You Are the World set of 3, and I created a little piece here. I stamped my flower in worn lipstick, Distress ink, and then I just colored it with these 2 colors of fine art pastels. They're pastels, you just color it in and you push it with your finger. That's a tutorial for another day. So I used those two of the 3 stamps in this set to create this background. And I'm going to show you one more thing that you can do with the Nuvo Flakes. I'm using the Nuvo glue pen, and as you can see, mine is very well used. This is the Nuvo glue pen. It's a great glue pen. These have not dried out on me. They work very, very well. So you just get it started. And I'm just going to put some along the edge here. And this pen works best when you get it on there. If you leave it to dry a little bit. You want it to be tacky. I'm just going to go around this all the way, which is perfect because it's going to take me a minute to get the flakes out again. So I'm going to put that all the way around. It's going to have a rough edge on it because I wasn't super careful about keeping it nice and neat. Put my pen away, and I'm going to get my sheet out one more time so that we can add some flakes to it. Just going to carefully open my flakes. Oh, I just breathed into that. That was everything moved a little bit. And then I'm actually going to do it a little weird. I'm going to dip it in and then just kind of pull it along the edge here. Just pull it around the edge because I just want a little bit of gold along the edge of my piece. I'm going to pull it along the edge of my piece. I'm going to go around it, kind of pull it along, maybe dip it in again. It's only going to stick where I have the glue, so I'm not too concerned that it's going to go over my whole piece in the long run. If I was using something sticky, I would make sure that on the middle, I would make sure that that was all off before I did this, of course, but I'm not. I'm just going to press that around with my finger again, remove the excess, most of the excess. And press it down. I can kind of see that. And then I'm going to get rid of this again so I don't breathe into it and send these gold flakes all over the place. I was looking in the mirror, which I don't do very much because I work at home, and I had silver flakes in my eyebrows earlier today, which I think is always very lovely. Every crafter should have flakes somewhere on their body, right? All right, so now I'm just going to take this and go back and use my fingers one more time and press this down and around. Get a good press on here. Hopefully I'm in camera view. And press that around so that I have a perfect square there. Okay, so like I said, it is not totally perfect because I didn't put that pen on perfect, but I still think it's easier than the old way we used to do it with the gold pens that didn't work very well. So onto this piece of fuchsia or pink, dark pink. Technically that's fuchsia or not, but it's dark pink. It's close enough. And I'm just going to take the piece I did, which I did trim the excess off the edges nice and neat. And I'm going to put that on a piece of brown, which I trimmed down very tight. I only want a little brown to show, and that's to match some of the brown in here and some of the brown in here to bring some depth to it. And I'm going to put that on that same pink color card base. And then I have to decide which orientation I want this card to sit. Something about that is very appealing to me. So I think I'm just going to put this right down on top of that, and I have a finished card. Voila, complete. Wasn't too hard, very easy, and nice and shiny. It has a real wow factor to it. Thanks for coming by today. I hope you learned something. See you soon.